Hello everyone, Mr. Price here, continuing our read aloud for the day. Yesterday we started The Watsons Go to Birmingham, 1963. We made it part of the way through chapter 1, and our main characters were asked to go out and scrape the windows of the brown bomber on that frigid winter day. So we're going to go ahead and pick up from there. And also, if you remember, our main character had the ice scraped off of his part of the window when he had to stop and catch his breath, and then he heard Byron mumble his name. I said, "You think I'm stupid? It's not going to work this time." He mumbled my name again. It sounded like his mouth was full of something. I knew this was a trick. I knew this was going to be How to Survive a Blizzard Part 2. How to Survive a Blizzard Part 1 had been last night when I was outside playing in the snow, and Byron and his running buddy Buphead came walking by. Buphead has officially been a juvenile delinquent even longer than Byron. "Say, kid," Buphead said, "you want to learn something that might save your stupid life one day?" I should have known better, but I was bored, and I think maybe the cold weather was making my brain slow, so I said, "What's that?" "We're going to teach you how to survive a blizzard." "How?" Byron put his hands in front of his face and said, "This is the most important thing to remember, okay?" "Why?" "Well, first we got to show you what it feels like to be trapped in a blizzard. Ready?" He whispered something to Buphead, and they both laughed. "I'm ready." I should have known that the only reason Buphead and Bi would want to play with me was to do something mean. "Okay," I said. First thing you got to worry about is high winds." Byron and Buphead each grabbed one of my arms and one of my legs and swung me between them, going, "Woo! Blizzard warning! Blizzard warning! Woo! Take cover!" Buphead counted to 3, and on the third swing they let me go in the air. I landed head first in a snowbank. But that was okay because I had on 3 coats, 2 sweaters, a t-shirt, 3 pairs of pants, and 4 socks, along with a scarf, a hat, and a hood. These guys couldn't hurt me if they'd thrown me off the Empire State Building. After I climbed out of the snowbank, they started laughing, and so did I. "Cool, baby bro," I said. "You passed that part of the test with a B+. What do you think, Buphead?" Buphead said, "Yeah, I'd give the little punk an A." They whispered some more and started laughing again. "Okay," Bi said. "Second thing you gotta learn is how to keep your balance in a high wind. You gotta be good at this so you don't get blowed into no polar bear dens." They put me in between them and started making me spin round and round. It seemed like they spun me for about half an hour. When slobs started flying out of my mouth, they let me stop, and I wobbled around for a while before they pushed me back in the same snowbank. When everything stopped going in circles, I got up and we all laughed again. They whispered some more, and then Bi said, "What do you think, Buphead? He kept his balance a good long time. I'm gonna give him an A-. I ain't as hard a grader as you. I'm gonna give the little punk a double A-. Okay, Kenny. Now, the last part of surviving a blizzard. You ready?" "Yup. You passed the wind test and did real good on the balance test. But now we gotta see if you're ready to graduate. You remember what we told you was the most important part about surviving?" "Yep." "Okay. Here we go. Buphead, tell him about the final exam." Buphead turned me around to look at him, putting my back to Byron. "Okay, Square," he started. "I want to make sure you're ready for this one. You done so good so far. I want to make sure you don't go blow it at graduation time. You think you're ready?" I nodded, getting ready to be thrown into the snowbank real hard this time. I made up my mind I wasn't going to cry or anything. I made up my mind that no matter how hard they threw me in that snow, I was going to get up laughing. "Okay," Buphead said. "Everything's cool. Remember what your brother said about putting your hands up? Like this?" I covered my face with my gloves. "Yeah, that's it." Buphead looked over my shoulder at Byron and said, "Ooh, high winds, blowing snow. Ooh, look out, blizzard coming. Death around the corner. Look out." Byron mumbled my name, and I turned around to see why his voice sounded so funny. As soon as I looked at him, Byron blasted me in the face with a mouthful of snow. Man, It was hard to believe how much stuff Bi could put in his mouth. Him and Buckhead just about died laughing as I stood there with snow and spit and ice dripping off my face. Byron caught his breath and said, "Aw, man, you flunked. You done so good." And then you go and flunk the blowing snow section of How to Survive a Blizzard. You forgot to put your hands up. What do you say, Buckhead? F? Yeah, double F minus. It was a good thing my face was numb from the cold already, or I might have froze to death. I was too embarrassed about getting tricked to tell on them, so I went in the house and watched TV. So as me and Bi scraped the ice off the brown bomber, I wasn't going to get fooled again. I kept on chopping ice off the back window and ignored Bi's mumbling voice. The next time I took a little rest, Byron was still calling my name, but sounded like he had something in his mouth. He kept saying, "Hey, hey, help, help." Then he started banging on the door of the car. I went to take a peek at what was going on. Bi was leaned over the outside mirror looking at something in it real close. Big puffs of steam were coming out of the side of the mirror. I picked up a big, hard chunk of ice to get ready for Byron's trick. "Hey, hey, help me, help me, go get Mama, go get Mama, hurry, hurry up." "I'm not playing, Byron. I'm not that stupid. You better start doing your side of the car or I'll tear you up with this ice ball." He banged his hand against the car harder and started stomping his feet. "Oh, please, Kay, help me. Go get Mama." I raised the ice chunk over my head. "I'm not playing, Bi. You better get busy or I'm telling Dad." I moved closer. When I got right next to him, I could see boogers running out of his nose and tears running down his cheeks. They weren't tears from the cold either. These were big, juicy crybaby tears. I dropped my ice chunk. "Bi, what's wrong?" "Help me, Kay. Go get help." I moved closer. I couldn't believe my eyes. Byron's mouth was frozen to the mirror. He was as stuck as a fly on flypaper. I could have done a lot of stuff to him. If it had been me with my lips stuck on something like this, he'd have tortured me for a couple of days before he got help. Not me, though. I nearly broke my neck trying to get into the house to rescue Byron. As soon as I ran through the front door, Mama, Dad, and Joey all yelled, "Close that door!" "Mama, quick! It's Bi. He's froze up outside." No one seemed too impressed. I screamed, "Really? He's froze to the car! Help! He's crying!" That shook them up. You could cut Byron's head off and he probably wouldn't cry. "Kenneth Bernard Watson, what on earth are you talking about?" "Mama, please hurry up." Mama, Dad, and Joey threw on some extra coats and followed me to the brown bomber. The fly was still stuck and buzzing. "Oh, Mama, help me! Get me off of here!" "Oh, my Lord!" Mama screamed. And I thought she was going to do one of those movie-style faints. She even put her hand over her forehead and staggered back a little bit. Joey, of course, started crying right along with Byron. Dad was doing his best not to explode laughing. Big puffs of smoke were coming out of his nose and mouth as he tried to squeeze his laughs down. Finally, he put his head on his arms and leaned against the car's hood and howled. "Byron," Mama said, gently wiping tears off his cheeks with the end of her scarf. "It's okay, sweetheart. How did this happen?" She sounded like she was going to be crying in a minute herself. Dad raised his head and said, "Why are you asking how it happened? Can't you tell, Willona? This little knucklehead was kissing his reflection in the mirror and got his lips stuck." Dad took a real deep breath. "Is your tongue stuck too?" "No, quit teasing, Dad. Help me, help." Well, at least the boy hadn't gotten too passionate with himself. Dad thought that was hilarious and put his head back on his arms. Mama didn't see anything funny. "Daniel Watson, what are we gonna do? What do y'all do when this stuff happens up here?" Mama started talking Southern style when she got worried. Instead of saying here, she said here. Instead of saying you all, she said y'all. Dad stopped laughing long enough to say, "Willona, I've lived in Flint all my life, 35 years, and I swear this is the first time I've ever seen anyone with their lips frozen to a mirror. Honey, I don't know what to do. Wait till he thaws out?" "Pull him off, Dad," I suggested. Byron went nuts. He started banging his hands on the brown bomber's doors again and mumbling, "No, no, Mama, don't let him." Joey blubbered out, "This is just like that horrible story Kenny read me about that guy Narcissi who stared at himself so long he forgot to eat and starved to death. Mama, please save him." She went over and hugged her arms around Byron's stupid waist. Mama asked Dad, "What about hot water? Couldn't we pour enough hot water on the mirror so it would warm up and he could get off?" She kept wiping By's tears off his cheek and said, "Don't you worry, baby. We're going to get you off of this." But her voice was so shaky and southern that I wondered if we'd be driving around in the summer with a skeleton still dangling from the outside mirror by its lips. Dad said, "I don't know, pouring water on him might be the worst thing to do, but it might be our only chance. Why don't you go get some hot tap water and I'll stay to wipe his cheeks." Joey told By, "Don't worry, we'll come right back." She stood on her tiptoes and gave By a kiss. Then she and Mama ran inside. Dad cracked up all over again. "Well, lover boy, I guess this means no one can call you Hot Lips, can they?" Dad was killing himself. Or the last of the red hot lovers either, huh? He tugged on Byron's ear a little more, pulling his face back. By went nuts again. "Don't do that! Whoa! Whoa, Kenny! Go get Mama! Hurry!" I guess that's not gonna work, is it? Every time he wiped away the tears and the little mustache of boogers on Byron's lip, Dad couldn't help laughing, until the little river of tears was coming out of his eyes too. Dad tried to straighten his face out when Mama and Joey came running back with a steaming glass of hot water, but the tears were still running down his cheeks. Mama tried to pour water on the mirror, but her hands were shaking so much she was splashing it all over the place. Dad tried too, but he couldn't look at Byron without laughing and shaking. That meant I had to do it. I knew that if my lips were frozen on something and everybody was shaking too much to pour water on them except for Byron, he'd do some real cruel stuff to me. He probably would have accidentally splashed my eyes until they were frozen open, or put water in my ears until I couldn't hear anything. But not me. I gently poured a little stream of water over the mirror. Dad was right. That was the worst thing we could do. The water made a cracking sound and froze solid as soon as it touched the mirror and By's lips. Maybe By's mouth was frozen, but his hands sure weren't, and he popped me right in the forehead. Hard. I hate it. But I hate to say it, but I started crying too. It's no wonder the neighbors called us the Weird Watsons behind our backs. There we were, all five of us standing around a car with a temperature about 1,000,000 degrees below zero, and each and every one of us crying. "Stop! Stop!" Byron yelled. "Daniel Watson, what are we gonna do?" Mama went nuts. "You gotta get this boy to the hospital. My baby's gonna die." Dad tried to look serious real quick. "Willona, how far do you think I'd get driving down the street with this little clown attached to the mirror? What am I supposed to do? Have him run beside the car all the way down to the emergency room?" Mama looked real close at By's mouth, closed her eyes for a second like she was praying, and finally said, "Daniel, you go in there and call the hospital and see what they say we should do. Joey, Kenny, you go with your daddy." Dad and Joey went crying into the house. I stayed by the brown bomber. I figured Mama was clearing everybody out for something. Byron did too and looked at Mama in a real nervous way. Mama put her scarf around Byron's face and said, "Sweetheart, you know we gotta do something. I'm gonna try to warm your face up a little. Just relax." "Okay, Mama. You know I love you. It wouldn't do anything to hurt you, right?" If Mama was trying to make Byron relax, she wasn't doing a real good job at it. All this talk about love and not getting hurt was making him real nervous. "What are you gonna do, huh? Don't hurt me. Kenny, help!" Mama moved the scarf away and put one hand on Byron's chin and the other one on his forehead. "No, help! Help me! Kenny!" And we're out of time, unfortunately, guys. That is where we're going to have to stop. We still have not finished chapter 1. We have about a page left, but I don't have time in the video to continue it. So we're going to go ahead and stop right there, and you'll hear the rest of that tomorrow. Remember to complete your exit ticket, and have yourself a wonderful day. Talk to you soon.